Hello and welcome to the very first episode of MANSUS 20 Minute Talks. I'm Gemma, your host for this series, where I'll be sharing conversations with the people leading sustainability in manufacturing. Today I'm joined by Björn Hannappel, Head of Sustainability at EOS. I first met Björn on the busy show floor at Formnext Frankfurt, where I learnt more about EOS's commitment to responsible manufacturing. For those of you who aren't familiar with EOS, they describe themselves as the leading supplier for responsible manufacturing solutions via industrial 3D printing technology. To give you a bit of context for this episode, Björn is responsible for driving the company's sustainability agenda and strategy. His focus is partly on internal projects to increase transparency, reduce carbon emissions, but Björn is also responsible for external projects, so supporting EOS's customers to achieve their own sustainability targets. Björn is responsible for the development, implementation and monitoring of the global diversity, equity and inclusion strategies. And before the episode, I asked Björn what it is that drives him in his role. He said that it's combining financial performance with a positive social and environmental impact. I started this conversation by asking Björn about his career journey and the route he took to reach his role with EOS today.
Yes, so I studied applied environmental sciences a long time ago. Was a lot of fun, really interesting studies, I think, although I was not sure what to do with it afterwards, to be really honest. But then I started my first job actually in a small consultancy. And in that consultancy, we supported companies, especially in the lime industry, as well as in the mineral oil industry, with regards to the back then newly established European emission trading scheme. That was really interesting. Also, additionally, we started to calculate the first product carbon footprints for big customers, especially in the UK and also in the Netherlands. And it was very interesting and kind of pioneering work. There was only very little data available, very interesting results. We also found some challenges in doing the calculations, but it was a very good preparation and even a precondition for my next job, because afterwards I joined DHL and worked for 2 years in their so-called innovation center. They just had started their global environmental program, Go Green, and they were looking for experienced people in the area of carbon management and calculation of product carbon footprints. So my first role was to support the development of the Go Green products for the customers still existing today. And we developed a calculation scheme for those products and services, and also an offsetting scheme for the climate neutral products that we had. 2 years later, I joined the central Go Green team in the headquarters of DHL, which I was responsible for before I was moving on. And it was a fantastic time, I have to say, lots of learnings. Quite some time I stayed with DHL, but at one point I was also ready for a change. And that's why was when I was joining EOS. And EOS is a family-owned business. We just celebrated our 35th birthday, founded by Hans Langer. And I always thought, okay, if I'm moving on from a big multinational company, my next job should be something smaller, something maybe family-based, and that is EOS now. And the new CEO, Marie Langer, started her job in 2019. And for her, one of the preconditions to take over this role was that there should be a much stronger focus on the topic of sustainability. And that's how I joined the company back in January 2020. Before I joined, there was a lot that the colleagues did. Yeah, it was really like a grassroots movement within the company, but not so much with a strategic focus, almost without management support, very little budget as well. But then after Marie became CEO and I started my job, we started to build up the sustainability strategy and also the department. And one of my first tasks back then was to develop a company purpose. So jointly with over, I think, 700 people, employees worldwide, we did brainstorming workshops, and always the biggest cluster was on sustainability, which, of course, I was really happy to see and hear. And so that's where we then choose our company purpose. And before we did it, it was really we defined as through innovation and the products, of course, and that was very important and is very important still now. But there was no, let's say, no higher purpose, no the why was missing. Yeah, why are we doing this? And the result of these workshops that we did together with all the colleagues around the globe was that we want to accelerate the transition towards responsible manufacturing with industrial 3D printing. So very interesting purpose, I think, and a very good vision to work towards. And over time, the department grew. We're taking it really seriously. We're developing an ESG strategy now, hands-on projects, but also strategic projects. And the way we're doing is that we start develop things, we're taking them on, we start develop them, but then once they are mature enough to be handed over to the respective teams, that's what we then do, and put it into the organization, so to say. So that was my journey from the studies, where I at first didn't know what to do afterwards with it, to now EOS.
Amazing. And I think so many people can relate to that sense of leaving university and not quite knowing, and you could never plan that journey out. But when we reflect backwards, it makes sense. Those steps and that sort of iteration of the career journey makes sense. You talk about how EOS made this very purposeful decision to lead on sustainability, and that really came from a leadership level. We hear EOS talk about responsible manufacturing being their purpose, and I've heard you say it's EOS's North Star. Can you tell us a bit more about the importance of having a mission and a set of values to lead from? Why do you think that matters? Why do you think that works so well?
Yeah, so a purpose answers the question why. Why does a company exist? So we ask ourselves, why does EOS exist? Yeah, it's not only the what. The what is, what are we doing? We're doing innovations, we're building machines, we're doing materials, software, service, and that is very important. And of course, a lot of the colleagues, but also customers, they can relate to that. But what we really wanted to have is, to answer the question, but why? Why are we doing this? So responsible manufacturing, so we have a full sentence, as I just mentioned, but responsible manufacturing is really the key. And that's for us the headline that keeps all initiatives under one umbrella. That is something we're all striving for. That is something everyone should or now also has in mind when doing something new, or developing a new material, a new machine, no matter what. And it is for me or for us, it is a focal point, something to focus on, to generate more ideas, to be inspired of, and to also maybe be proud of. And you can also, of course, also use it for communication, both internally as well as externally, and makes maybe also smaller initiatives more powerful if colleagues do something internally, and they can relate to, okay, this is making the company a little better towards our purpose of responsible manufacturing, of sustainability. So let's put that in that bigger picture. And also, not only inside the company, but also outside the company, I think it can help to attract new talents. Yeah, it's nowadays not so easy to find the right people. I think, and I saw it, that many, especially younger people, they want to work for a company that really takes it seriously. They might not want to work in the sustainability department itself, but they want to
Yeah.
work for a company that takes this topic very seriously. So I think that is really important, and also a purpose, in my eyes, can help to drive change, to drive transformation and innovation. And from my perspective, what we need, or where this can be combined, is that the five times I. So that's five words, or they all start with I. And the first one is impulse. Yeah. So where does it come from? There is a demand from the customers, there's a demand from regulation, but there's also a demand from within the company to do something to make this place, or our Earth, a livable a place also for the future. The second I is information. You need data transparency, you need data in general. You need to set climate targets, for examples. You need to do trainings in order to get there. The third one is innovation, because also a purpose and the topic of responsible manufacturing should also translate into new products for our customers. It should not only be something that we are doing as a company or that we are striving forward, but there's also should also answer the question, yeah, but what is the benefit for the customers? And that could be, for example, new products, so innovation. The fourth one is incentivization, yeah, because the question always is, yeah, okay, now you have a good purpose, congratulations, but what is the return? Yeah, so there needs to be a return of the investment in some way or the other. And the last one, and that was maybe our starting point, is inspiration. Yeah, so a leadership role, proof that it's working, something you can lead and hopefully find a lot of followers that also go on this journey, because we believe that we can only do it together.
Yeah. So, Björn, if you were talking directly with somebody who is at the very start of their sustainability journey, where would you encourage them to start?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, because there's a lot I would say. So I think in general, someone starting in that role newly, what they should do, from my perspective, is they should think about their stakeholders. Yeah, first
Yeah.
of all, maybe inside the company, but also outside the company, and then especially what are their requirements. So it could be there's regulation. Yeah, so governments are a stakeholder. The customers, of course. What do they want? What do they expect from you, especially in terms of sustainability? But also maybe you have shareholders. What is their thinking? Financial institutes, but also existing and future employees, as I just said. So where can you maybe solve a joint challenge? Yeah, so what are your stakeholders? Who are your stakeholders? And what are their requirements? What are their challenges? And maybe how can you help them with whatever you do to be also successful? So first of all, I think you have to look at what you must do, what you need to do. Laws and regulations, that is the basis. Yeah, I guess there's
Yeah.
no questions. You need to be compliant. But secondly, I would say what you should look at is what other opportunities might there be in driving this topic. Because with the first one, you can just serve the basic needs of your customers being compliant. And with the second one, with the opportunities, you make sustainability an opportunity for growth for your company. Maybe you're able to increase the brand value. Maybe you're able to enter new markets, to develop new products, and for sure to set apart from the competition. And that can be overwhelming, I believe, at the beginning. But for me, it is very important to always explain why are we doing it. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
nice to have anymore. What is the return? Yeah, what is the value for the company? What's the value for the customers, for the employees? And it's also very important, I think, to be an ambassador yourself. Yeah, to get the support from the top management, to be a translator,
Yeah.
explain why it makes business sense. Not everyone is looking at sustainability from let's say, from a tree hugger perspective. Yeah, maybe people also need to look at it from a more business perspective.
Yeah.
What's the financial value for them? And you need to be able, as a person who drives this topic, to switch to or to have answers for all these different stakeholders and explain it to them and translate it to them in a language they understand and a language that solves their problems or their challenges that they have. And I think you need to be patient. You need to be very resilient.
Yeah.
It takes some time. Don't give up. Try to involve other stakeholders. Don't try to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
And I think probably the best measure of success would be if other teams, if other stakeholders want to take parts of this topic over in their area, then they see it as their topic and they will keep pushing it. And then you always need to have, yeah, you also need to let it go as well. So that is
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
something one probably might need to learn. So there's a lot, I think, but at the same time, I think it's very interesting because you're in the middle of everything, in the middle of the whole company here, and there's a lot of opportunities.
Definitely. And it sounds very much like you are gaining internal champions at every level of the business. You know, it's the people, it's like you say, the stakeholders, but also across the business. You've got to really get that endorsement and that buy-in to have that wider company success. What is the most exciting change that you see on the horizon for the additive manufacturing industry?
Hmm. So I think that for me, that's a difficult question. There's probably been many answers before. Some have come reality, some not. So for me personally, I think industrialization and the
Mm-hmm.
serial production. So getting away from prototyping, from a small series, but going towards being let's say, a proper industry. Yeah. So which would mean the breakthrough for the technology. A next evolutionary step. And I think we will be able to unfold the full potential of additive manufacturing, and also to make it more sustainable at the same time. So I think a second exciting change would be getting to a more responsible manufacturing, to more responsible manufacturing processes and products in this area. And I think in future we will be focusing on applications with a positive impact for the environment, and which are only possible with 3D printing. And I think an industrialization can not only help the industry as such to take it to the next level, but it could also help to solve a lot of the challenges on the sustainability side we have, because it will be industrialized back then. And
Yeah.
many challenges we have currently because of small series or not really circular because it's too small as an industry, we can overcome by having that as a yeah, full-fledged industry, let's say.
And do you see partnerships being part of that industrialization, additive manufacturing companies looking to forge partnerships with one another?
Yeah, I think that's happening already now. I mean, I came from the logistics industry 4 years ago, and of course there was also partnerships and collaboration, but not to that amount that I see already in this industry. So the additive
Yeah,
industry is rather small, at least from my experience, from my previous jobs, it's rather small, but it's rather close together, and there's a lot of partnerships, even amongst competitors, oftentimes, which I really enjoy a lot because there is a spirit of let's make it together.
yeah,
Let's work towards the breakthrough. Let's do it together. And I think that is also true, or can also be true for the topic of sustainability. Yeah, there's the AMGTA.
yeah,
We're a member
yeah,
of right from the beginning, and in yeah, also for sustainability, it's very important to work together. Of course, I shared a lot what we are doing as EOS, and we see ourselves as yeah, as one of the leaders in this area, and we want to keep that position, of course. But the topic is too big and too important to not
yeah.
work together. So I think there's still a lot to do, but I'm quite happy to see that the AM family, how we call us always, is really there and really supporting each other, not only in general, but also on the sustainability topic.
Well, Bjorn, thanks so much for taking the time out for this conversation today. It's been great to catch up with you, and this has been 20 Minute Talks.
Thank you so much.